Welcome to the How I Met Your Mother podcast for the episode entitled Natural History. This is the 8th episode of the 6th season and the 120th episode of the series. My name is Alec Lev. Today we have something a little different. With us are names you might not recognize, but they've actually been on set in front of the camera during every single scene of every episode of How I Met Your Mother, sort of. Some call them second team, they are the Standins. I'm actually going to have them all introduce themselves, but before I do that, I just want to tell you why I've invited you all here today. Eben, who is sitting to my left here, he and I were speaking the other day, and I was wondering how someone sort of gets into this and what you do outside of this. And I said, how, the show's been going on about 6 years, what were you doing before this? And his answer was, this is my
19th season.
19th season.
Standing in on sitcoms.
And so I was pretty fascinated by that. I think you all will be too. So let's take it around the horn. If you could tell us your name and how long you've been working as a stand-in.
Ron Nicolosi. I've been working as a stand-in about 10 years.
Angus McClellan. I've been working for stand-in for about a dozen years.
Eben Ham. This is my 19th season standing in on sitcoms.
I'm Geeta Isaac. The first time I ever stood in was 1986, so do the math.
Elena Frank, and I started standing in 1980 on a little show called Bosom Buddies when Tom Hanks wasn't Tom Hanks yet.
Okay, so just to clear things up, what does a stand-in do?
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. Stand-ins on single camera shows like a CSI or a movie literally stand in for the actors. They'll just stand in a spot so the lighting and the cameras and everything can, do their thing.
Yeah.
On sitcoms, it's completely different. Where on the rehearsal days, we'll mostly cover the actors that aren't there in the scenes that need to be rehearsed. So on those days, we're like rehearsal actors. Will be anything from little kids to old people to whatever.
They actually perform their parts and do their lines.
He pointed at me when he said little kids.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah, Ron
specializes
does a
in
lot of little kids.
Great.
I was flipping my hats, my baseball hat around.
Yeah.
So let's just back up. Why do we need someone standing there? Don't we have actors to do this? How does this work?
Well, there's a lot of setting up. The director has to deal with the camera operators and the director of photography, and sometimes there's a lot of kind of slow motion work involved on the set that the actors really don't need to be there for every single step. Also, they might be in getting into wardrobe, getting into makeup. You need a second team that pretty much knows what the quote first team does, and we can be placeholders, for the director and everyone else.
So tell me some of the other shows that you guys have worked on.
I started out on Just Shoot Me, working as a regular background person in the office, and that's how I met Pam. And I've known Pam since like 1997, and Just Shoot Me, I started there and worked my way up to a stand-in, and then I've been standing in ever since.
I started on Step by Step, 1992. I went in one day, they were looking for a new stand-in. They'd fired somebody, so they brought 5 people in from Central Casting, lined us up. ADs went down the row and shook all our hands, said, okay. Then they huddled in the corner and said, okay, Eben, you stay, all the rest can go home, you have the job. And I worked on that show for 5 years, and a couple of years after that, ADs came to me one day and said, do you know why we hired you in the first place? I said, no, I have no idea. And he goes, there were 2 nice gay gentlemen, and they said, do you remember what you wore to the audition or the interview? I said, no. They said, you wore shorts. We liked your legs, so we wanted to keep you around. 19 seasons later, here I am. If I hadn't worn shorts to that interview,
where would you be today?
Who knows? Well, maybe someone really good.
He still has nice legs.
Well, so I try to wear shorts to every interview. It doesn't work like it used to, but.
And so you started on
Bosom Buddies, and I've worked on, Murphy Brown for a number of years, and on Mad About You, and a lot of others that I can't even remember the names of.
Now, Now, of course, people who know the show will definitely know Ron.
Oh, yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
He is the cameraman Mike from Robin's show. How'd you get that gig?
Well, the person sitting right across from me, Eben Ham, I always thank him for it. Because when we come in on Tuesdays and the little parts that they haven't cast yet that we have to read, he said, read Mike. So I said, okay. And they liked it and they asked me to do it. And the rest is history. So I thank him all the time.
He gets a commission.
Every
right?
time somebody tells me you're in the next show, I'm like, thank you, Eben.
So I guess the question that is most on my mind is this fun?
At times,
This show is
definitely,
fun.
yes.
Yeah, this is a very fun show to work on
Yeah.
because everybody's
It's a great
good, nice
atmosphere.
people. The
Yeah.
actors are really cool.
Best
Pam's
director
the best.
in the world.
No.
But not every
Clever.
other
Yeah.
show is as fun as
Yeah.
this
Who
show.
is horrible to work for?
Mm.
What have been what have been some of the more memorable experiences in the 100+ years of standing in that we have around this table?
Most memorable experiences? I stood in for 10.5 years on Married with Children. And at one point I got to stand in for Buck the dog. I got to stand in for a moose head that Al hung a jacket on. I got to stand in for Al and do what I thought was a stunt and spin around with a half-naked girl and a stiletto in my hand. I had my most bizarre experiences standing in on Married. It was really fun because it was just an extremely extreme show. But
I was a squirrel once on this show.
you're a squirrel.
Remember?
Squirrel? No.
On this
Squirrel?
show?
You're a squirrel,
On
yeah.
our show?
Yeah. Remember somebody was feeding the squirrels and you were the person. You looked over at me and you be there. Somebody said be there.
Be
So I was
there.
sitting there. So I said, okay. I mean, we do anything they need us to do. You know, we just you jump in and do it.
And does it have anything to do with, one would assume, your height, what you look like, but seems not so much.
We are. Don't we all look alike?
This show
Yeah, what do
really
you think?
doesn't.
Yeah.
On some shows, I've heard that the DP, director of photography, will want people who are the same
Same
height,
hair
have
color,
the same
hair
hair
color.
color.
So movies
Yeah.
in one camera,
Yeah.
they're more particular about lighting. And
Yeah.
sitcoms, it's more about your movement and if you can stay with the script.
Yeah.
And you can kind of adjust your height a little bit, but it's not
I'm
bad.
6'2", and I stood in
Yeah.
for an actor one time. What was Will, like 5'5"?
Right. So he's just
So
like the Bambi.
whenever the
split.
times that I did actually stand in for him, I had to like stand like a giraffe out there, and so.
And I get the eye of the opposite. It's just I don't wear them anymore because I was told I didn't have to. But I bought 3.5-inch platform shoes.
Herman Munster shoes.
My Herman Munster shoes because Neil, I'm like 5'9" and Neil is 6'1". You know, so I used to wear those, but I was told I didn't have to anymore. So
you stand in for Neil, and Angus.
Jason?
Stand in for Jason.
I sent it for Josh. That's
Alright.
Ted.
Are you the same height as Josh?
No, I'm about 2-3 inches taller than
You
I
are.
was.
And I stand in for Allison.
And I stand in for Kobe.
Now, I did a little research.
Uh-oh.
oh no.
And I want to hear from Evan about the unnameable.
Oh, yeah?
What is the unnameable?
It's a horror movie from 1987. It was one of my very first jobs, and I've heard some people refer to it as the unwatchable. But it's just a typical horror movie. Frat guys take the girls to the scary house to party with them, and then there's a monster there, and everybody gets killed one by one. And I had a really grisly death scene. It was great. It's my first on-screen death.
That's great. And I'm wondering if, I perhaps giving this away, but anyone here remember being whose IMDb page is trivia here reads stage manager, Melba, and the motorist?
Oh, that's me. Yeah.
Melba.
Melba was when I stood in on Married with Children. One of the perks on some shows, not on all shows, on our show and on Married, they do believe that you're actors. And on Married, I did a lot of voiceovers. I did maybe 30 different voiceovers. I did Al's mother in his head, Al's mother on the phone, a stripper on TV, a screaming dental patient. And it was the first time that I ever got an on-camera speaking part. It was on that show, and that was motorist number 1 or 2, one of the motorists. And Melba was a pregnant woman, and stage manager was, Kelly was doing a commercial, and I was the stage manager of the commercial. So really fun when that happens. It's just, hallelujah.
Yeah.
I'm an actor. Yeah.
Right.
Very cool.
And Ron, you're a Taurus.
A Taurus? Yes.
Yes.
IMDb.
And you're an
I am an Aquarius. Yeah. IMDb. They know
they
these
post
things.
their birth dates.
Oh yeah, some people don't post our birthdays.
Yeah, that's right.
Nikita. Okay.
Some of us are wise. Also, I just realized, are there any other jobs where they feed you at work? We get fed
No,
at
not like
work.
this.
You come in and there's oatmeal and French toast,
Breakfast
and
and-
and there's lunch, and sometimes there's dinner if you're still here. A while ago, I was thinking, really, other people, friends I know who work in offices, they don't get food
No.
at work. That's all they have to
No.
pay for a soda.
Yeah, you get on the
I mean,
cafeteria,
we're
buy the
really-
lunch, sometimes by the pound.
This is not the reality.
No, it's not.
No.
We're in a very unreal world, and I love it. It'd be very hard to imagine going back to an office job, which I've done.
Ugh.
But this is.
I like this to use this job of a stand-in, sort of the analogy of playing baseball. And like being a stand-in is sort of like being in the minor leagues. You still get to play the game. You're around it. It's fun. And then occasionally you get called up to the show and you get to, play in the big leagues.
That's
It's
a great analogy.
Yeah. And in baseball, but you're done after 10 years in minor league baseball. You're done. But as stand-in, 20, 25
Yeah.
years, and you can still be plugging away and still get called up to the majors once in a while. Ron's had a good year in the majors.
I've had a great, yeah.
He's
great
like batting
year in the
350
majors.
with 10 home runs in the last couple of
And we
years.
don't retire.
So,
Well,
We'll be limping onto the set.
we'll be with the walkers,
wheeling
we'll still be
ourselves.
doing it,
Thank you all so much for joining us here
Thank
today.
you.
Opening
Thank
up
you.
a whole new- And that'll do it for this week. Thanks so much to our guests. Remember to watch How I Met Your Mother Monday nights on CBS and now in syndication every night. Check your local listings. We're on Facebook at How I Met Your Mother and the Robin Sparkles fan page. And follow us all over Twitter at HIMYM_CBS, HIMYM_PROD, HIMYM_writers, and Bros Life, BROSLIFE. I'm Alec Lev, and thanks again for listening.